My name is Lola, and I'm 65 years old. Life has always been about family for me. My husband and I raised 3 children, leading a bustling life full of love and responsibility. As the years passed, our children grew up, married, and began their own lives. My eldest daughter lives far away, while my 2 sons are in the same state, but not close enough for regular visits. Despite the distance, we always reconnect for family gatherings during the holidays, filling our home with laughter and memories. But it's been quiet lately, just me and my husband, until I received a surprising call from my eldest son, Liam, with news that would change everything. Liam told me he wanted to build a house near us so his family could live close by. He mentioned that a prestigious prep school nearby would be perfect for his son, Mitchell, as he prepared for entrance exams. I was thrilled by the idea of seeing my grandson more often. Moving closer meant Liam would have a longer commute, but he and his wife, Emmy, were willing to make the sacrifice for Mitchell's future. My husband and I offered to help with anything they needed. However, Emmy's attitude seemed strange from the beginning. Whenever I tried to discuss the house or the move, her responses were cold and brief, making me wonder if she wanted us involved at all. Despite Emmy's distant behavior, I stayed excited about their move, thinking she was just stressed with all the preparations. Weeks went by, and I grew curious about the progress on the house, but every time I asked Emmy about it, she brushed me off, saying things like, "We're still figuring it out." Then, out of the blue, my husband received a call from Liam. To our shock, he mentioned that the house was almost complete. Surprised and a bit hurt, we decided to drive over and see it ourselves. When we arrived, we found a beautiful house standing where an empty lot used to be. And that's when I realized Emmy had been keeping us in the dark all along. On the day of the move, I was determined to be there, hoping to bridge the gap between us. Emmy had suggested I come around 2 p.m., so I brought snacks and refreshments, eager to help. As I walked up to the new house, I was greeted by Emmy's mother, who was already there, sipping coffee with a relaxed air as though she'd been there all day. Emmy welcomed me politely, but the coldness in her voice was unmistakable. It was clear that Emmy and her mother had been coordinating without me. I felt like an outsider, standing in a home I'd once thought would be a place of shared memories with my family. Trying to mask my disappointment, I forced a smile and joined them, hoping things would warm up as the day went on. In the weeks following the move, I noticed a pattern forming. Emmy kept us at a distance, only sharing information when it suited her. Special moments like Mitchell's prep school entrance ceremony happened without us. I found out through an online post that Emmy's mother had been there instead, celebrating with them while we weren't even invited. I couldn't shake the feeling of being excluded. I wondered if Emmy saw me as a burden, or worse, as someone who had no place in their family. My husband tried to reassure me, but the hurt and confusion lingered. I tried to make peace with the distance, telling myself that maybe this was just the way Emmy was. But the feeling of rejection grew stronger with each passing day. Then came a day that would change everything. I was at home, tidying up, when the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Emmy and her mother standing there, their expressions serious. Without any small talk, Emmy's mother looked me in the eye and said, "Lola, you need something to do, right? We want you to deliver meals to Mitchell every day at 4 a.m. I stood there, stunned, unable to believe the audacity of her demand. Before I could respond, Emmy added, "If you can't do it, you won't see your grandson again." Their words hit me like a punch to the gut. They were using my grandson to manipulate me, and the realization left me speechless. As I stood there, processing their demand, something shifted inside me. Instead of reacting with anger, I took a deep breath and calmly replied, "All right, I'll do it." Emmy and her mother exchanged surprised looks, clearly expecting a different response. I watched them walk away, feeling a newfound sense of clarity. Once they were gone, I went to the drawer, where I kept a document I had been holding on to just in case, the divorce papers. My husband and I had discussed Emmy's behavior, and he suggested preparing for this possibility if things worsened. I decided it was time to stand up for my family, not just for me, but for my son and grandson's future. The next day, I spoke to Liam, finally revealing the way Emmy and her mother had been treating us. I told him everything, from the exclusion during the house construction to the demand for 4 a.m. meal deliveries. Liam was shocked and deeply disturbed. I explained that his wife's behavior was not only hurtful to us, but also unfair to Mitchell, who deserved a loving family environment. To my relief, Liam listened intently, and I could see his frustration growing as he realized how his wife had been acting. We discussed the possibility of a divorce, not as a first choice, but as a way to ensure Mitchell would have a safe, nurturing home. As Liam started paying closer attention to Emmy's actions, he noticed things he had once ignored. Mitchell began opening up to him, sharing stories about how his mother and grandmother would use his allowance to fund their obsession with the musician. They often left him alone for meals and basic needs, prioritizing their fandom over his well-being. Hearing this broke Liam's heart, and he knew he couldn't ignore it any longer. He decided to fight for custody of Mitchell, determined to provide a stable life for his son. With my husband and me supporting him, Liam took the first steps toward regaining control over his life and protecting his son. Emmy, realizing her grip on Liam was slipping, began to panic. She reached out multiple times, trying to convince Liam to stay in the marriage for Mitchell's sake. But Liam remained resolute, explaining that Mitchell's happiness and safety were his top priority. He hired a lawyer and started the process of filing for custody. Emmy's attempts to guilt Liam into staying only strengthened his resolve. Meanwhile, Mitchell expressed his relief and excitement at the prospect of living with his father and grandparents. Watching Liam's determination filled me with pride, but I knew the journey ahead would be challenging for all of us. The court battle over custody was a tough ordeal. Emmy became erratic, making public accusations to paint Liam and us in a negative light. However, Mitchell's testimony and the evidence of Emmy's neglect spoke volumes. After months of uncertainty, the court granted Liam full custody, and the weight of worry finally lifted from our hearts. Emmy's reaction was predictable. She was livid, blaming us for manipulating the situation. But I stood firm, knowing we had done what was best for Mitchell. The journey had been long and painful, but the outcome reaffirmed our family's strength and unity. With custody secured, we began a new chapter as a family. Mitchell thrived in our care, joining a school club, making friends, and finally experiencing a life filled with love and security. I found joy in preparing his lunches each day, sharing dinners, and watching him grow into a happy, well-adjusted child. Reflecting on everything, I realized that the trials we faced only strengthened our family bond. The sacrifices, the difficult choices, they all led us to this moment of peace and unity. Every morning, as Liam and Mitchell come by to share breakfast, I feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude. This new beginning isn't just for them, it's for all of us, and I am grateful for the chance to be a part of it.